That is production. And I love seeing directors that have a style that is instantly recognizable because of either their said look, their dialogue, or certain quirks that are throughout their movies. For instance, J.J. Abrams has his famous light flare effects that he puts in all his movies to Wes Anderson's insane infatuation with symmetry. All this to say is when I see said recognizable style, I can't help but think what could this director do with a certain property that would benefit from their style, such as Sam Raimi's Spider-Man trilogy. Only Sam Raimi could handle such a lighthearted and campy superhero while juggling his personal life on the side. It's a perfect choice as his previous work is very campy and heavy on the hyperactive camera work and insane editing transitions. So that got me thinking about directors I love and what story or property would suit them best to make within the umbrella of their style. And the first director that I thought of is Robert Eggers, who has done movies such as Nosferatu and The Lighthouse. And what I would love for him to do is an adaptation of the fairy tale Hansel and Gretel. I base this on his work in The Witch as it feels like a fucked up fairy tale to begin with since it's already placed in the woods with a witch, so Eggers has done something adjacent to this tale. But I would love to see him double down on the story and go full stop adapting the brutal original version of the tale done by the Brothers Grimm, where if you don't know, I'll break it down to you real quick. A small and poor family of four are very, very hungry one night. The parents come to the conclusion that they need to get rid of their kids, Hansel and Gretel. Their master plan is to leave them in the forest with a single piece of bread and let them die as they won't be able to find their way home. The mother shows no remorse, where the father shows a little with his action. Hansel and Gretel are led into the forest, cut the wood that is asked of them, but Hansel is very smart and made a path back to his house with these shiny flintstones he found near his house. The mom gets very angry at them surviving, and when famine hits the household once again a couple weeks later, the mom leads them even further into the wood where they actually get lost this time and find an edible house that belongs to a witch that tries to eat them but is unsuccessful and ultimately killed by Gretel. They find a room full of riches, and by way of a duck that ferries them from one end of the body of water to the other end where their house is at, they go back home and find out that their mother is dead and their father is happy to see them. Now that they are rich and they can be happy and not constantly starve, the story ends. I think this version of the story is perfect for a Robert Eggers film as it's set in a different time period, has magical supernatural elements that aren't too wacky and can feel grounded underneath his hand. I just know Eggers would do some amazing costume designs and unique choices when it comes to the visuals of the witch's edible house and the witch herself. There are so many ways he can elaborate on the storytelling level, such as the evil mother always wanting them dead for the betterment of her health, when as a parent, she should want to have their best interest at heart. The themes and lessons are about family, and that's something that he has always been present in previous films. So it fits very nicely. This is getting long winded at this point, so let's move on. The second director I thought of when making this list was the great Guillermo del Toro, and the movie I would love for him to direct is H.P. Lovecraft's novella At the Mountain of Madness. At the Mountains of Madness follows a Miskatonic University expedition to Antarctica that discovers ancient non-human ruins and the horrifying history of the planets, revealing Earth was once ruled by alien beings called Elder Things, who created life and enslaved monstrous Shoggoths, leading to a catastrophic conflict that predates humanity and drives the narrator to madness as he tries to warn the world. This is a match made in heaven, if I've ever seen one. The Toro style lines up perfectly with this material, specifically that this movie depends on the designs of the monsters, which he excels at. There have been multiple movies that I've seen of Del Toro that has to do with designs similar or inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's work that gives me a good indicator that I'll be safe hands with this director. A great example is the mouth designs of the vampires in Blade 2. Just watch the movie. The tentacle looking orifices already feel like they are attached to the great older ones instead of vampires. We all know how elaborate and incredible the set designs for a Del Toro movie are, as his latest movie, Frankenstein, has all striking set pieces. That's exactly the eye you need to tell the story. There's a long history between Del Toro and this movie that I won't go into in this video, but just know that Del Toro was supposed to direct this movie in the early 2000s, but was stuck in development hell for many reasons, from the budget being too high to the studios wanting the movie to be PG-13 in contrast to Del Toro's insistence of it being rated R. Regardless, its future seems bleak as Del Toro has had many interviews saying that this movie is probably going to stay in his bucket list, but I do have hope as his deal with Netflix seems to have given him carte blanche, so I'm curious why they haven't greenlit the project. Maybe he feels as, he can't make the film he once wanted to make when he was younger. I'm not too sure. I hope this movie comes to fruition one day before I die, and if it doesn't, I'll be mildly infuriated to say the least. On to the next one, which is Edgar Wright. Let me take you back to 2014. The MCU was at an all-time high, especially for a young 15-year-old boy like me who had just come to see the test footage, or maybe it was like a leaked clip from Comic-Con of the new Ant-Man movie, which was supposed to be directed by none other than Edgar Wright. I was so hyped. I had watched Hot Fuzz so many times and fell in love with Edgar Wright and his use of visual comedy. And I could not wait to see what he would do with Ant-Man, a superhero that at the time I had no idea who he was. And I was ready to just be brought to this roller coaster that Edgar Wright would have. Mind you, I just learned today that he was set to direct that movie for 8 years before that fateful day in 2014, where it was announced due to constraints with the studio, Edgar Wright left the director's chair. Like, this is Edgar Wright, who at this point is a cemented director in Hollywood with his own style and is known for being creative and a true auteur. So I'm confused why Marvel thought to not trust his vision that has clearly led him to his success, and I'm assuming led to him getting the job in the first place. Did they expect to just hire a director who would succumb to their ways when he deserved to be set free and create art instead of what would eventually be known as the Marvel formula? I will never forgive them for that. Don't get me wrong, I'm glad we got Baby Driver instead, but damn, I wish he had made Ant-Man, as the footage that was leaked was so amazing. And damn, what a horrible decision by the heads to let him go. If you haven't seen the footage, just look up Edgar Wright's Ant-Man and enjoy. Screw the Snyder cut. Let's get the Edgar Wright cut for Ant-Man. I'm sure there's others than me out there. Anyways, this has been the movies I would love to see directors make better these productions. Peace out.